I would like to start by saying that thank you very much for coming, and it's going to be an interactive session. But at the same time, I've got a couple of slides to just share with us, and there will be time for us to be able to ask questions. And as we're seated, I think at some point we're going to be doing exercises on each table. So please feel free to sit on any table. Because I didn't understand how to be able to scale you becoming a project manager. And shortly after that time, I decided to go for a training, Prince 2 project management. And just immediately after the project management training, I also went into what they call ITIL, service management. That also involves service management. I went into another training, I said business analysis. That is also another training. So I went for 3 trainings within the space of maybe 1 month, hoping at the end of this training I'll be able to get a job. And lo and behold, I didn't get a job. I still was doing one of the jobs that I didn't like. So I went on like that, and the reason why I'm sharing this story is just to be able to let you understand that the reason why I'm doing this today is not just because of anything else, but just because of one, what I've been through and what I know that people could be going through right now. I'm making everyone to understand that, and there is always something that can come out of whatever situation we might be at the moment. So after the training, I didn't get a job, and it took me some couple of years, and eventually I broke through into project management, and from then I've been moved on. And what stuck to me was the fact that when I was looking for a job, I was really very desperate. I was getting interviews, I was also going for interviews, but I just couldn't get that first breakthrough into the job that I wanted. And when the job came, I didn't even expect that the job was going to come like that. So it was at the point that I realized, reflecting now, it was at that point that I realized that, okay, you know what, there must be something that got me in here. There must be a way that no one else could be able to do that. And that's the reason why I decided that, okay, at any point that I have the opportunity, I'll be able to share with people. Okay? So, and because 2 weeks ago, I clocked 40, and I realized that, okay, yes, there could be a lot of people around that maybe looking forward to, and if they want to earn more or change their jobs and all of that. And I feel, okay, this is something that I have that I think I can give, so I decided to put this together. And why is this free? Because I've been able to attend some training. I've done my Prince 2. I've done my I've done a couple of trainings which I'm going to share with you at the moment. Let me just quickly go into that. So these are. Is it clear? Can you see anything? This is very blurry. It's better now.
Yeah.
So just a brief explanation of what I'm currently doing at the moment. So currently I'm working as a software engineering squad lead. What that means is there are a couple of domains within my organization, and in my particular domain, so I sort of like work with a couple of software engineers, testers, automation engineers, and all of that, making sure that we are practicing agile, right? And practicing agile in such a way where we're making progress and we're also delivering in the organization. And just before then, I was working as a Scrum Master. And what Scrum Masters do, I don't want to really go in there at the moment. We're going to talk about that. And before then, I was working as an infrastructure project manager. Infrastructure means it's more of like hardware. So anyone understands hardware, software, you understand that good. So hardware, which is more of like you're deploying printers, you're deploying computers, you're deploying mobile phones, those are hardware. And also as a senior project manager. So different sectors. I've also been very fortunate to work in different sectors. Let me just move to the side. I've been in the healthcare sector. I've worked in NHS, a couple of them in Nottingham. I've also worked in the printing sectors as well. And at the same time, where else have I worked? Okay, a couple of them. I can't remember again. And currently, I'm in telecommunication at the moment. And to tell you the truth, it's not as if I've got millions of years experience, and it's not as if I know everything, but somehow there are a couple of things that I believe have helped me, and by the special grace of God as well, through prayers, things have happened. But I just want us to understand here, apart from just believing that, okay, yes, I want to get a job, there are things that we need to begin to do ourselves. One of them is the fact that you have to be truthful to yourself. What is my current state at the moment, right? I'm going to go into that at a later time. I thought, let me just really slot that in. But just before we go, so these are a couple of certifications that I've done, and if you read through, you will see that majority of them have been in the area of agile and also in the area of project management. So advanced certified Scrum Master, that is, I'm also a certified coach, transformational coach, and also a career coach. So I sort of like help people with, I don't help people to write this CV, but I guide people to be able to write a very good CV. Learning Agility Certified, Learning Program Management Certified, Blue Ocean Strategy Certified, Agile Project Leadership Certified. So all of this, I've decided to just share this with you, just to make you understand that that I'm not just speaking from my head. This is coming from a couple of trainings that I've also attended, and also working in that space and the experience that I've been able to get. So before we go on, can I just ask one or two people, if you just want to share with us, what is your expectation from today? Anyone would like to go? What is your expectation from today, please? Anyone?
To learn something new.
Thank you. Do you have an idea what that something new may be?
And it's an interesting job sector, and I've heard lots about it. So I want to know more.
Okay.
I'm not sure exactly what it is.
Okay. So which one because Agile could be a sector, project management could also be a sector. Which one of them, or are you talking about the two of them?
Agile.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Agile, I like that. Anyone else? Your expectation? Go on, please.
Yeah, so I did Prince 2 practitioner level a few years ago. I'm a senior lawyer in-house, and I never used it because I found it was too prescriptive almost. So, and that was years ago, it was probably 6 or 7 years ago. And now I've got to start looking at some projects and sort of managing them for the company. So I wanted a bit of a refresher on project management and maybe a different option to Prince 2.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. I actually like where the two of you just came from, because it gives me an idea. Anyone else would like to share? Because I wanted just two people, but if anyone else wants to share, what is your expectation, please? Yeah, go on.
For some of us that have no idea of what project management involves, are we going to get an insight to it?
Good. As much as
we can get, basically.
Yeah, if you're listening, I think, that's because 1.5 hours would definitely not be enough. I mean, like I said, a couple of the trainings that I've done, sometimes, I think the last training that I did, I had to spend 3 full days. 3 full days on just one training. And some of them as well, I've had to spend hours online just to be able to get some of these things. So, and I would say that one of the things that we're going to be talking about today, at least there's Scrum there, if you have ever heard of Scrum before. Ideally, you can read it and then just have an understanding, a theoretical understanding of what it is. But practically speaking, you literally have to be doing it. Like she said, she's done certification. The level of your understanding from just doing the certification differs when you begin to practice it, because it is at that point that you begin to see the different ways that you can actually do them that may not necessarily be in line with what the book says. Okay? If there's no one else, then we can go on. So if I can just ask, what is projects? What is projects? What is agile? That's the first thing. Anyone? Okay, let's do this. Let's do this. On the tables, on each of the tables, do you want to have a conversation for the next 2 minutes, 5 minutes? What do you want? On each table, have conversation. What is project? What is agile? What is not project? What is not agile? So those are 4 questions, and I would just like one person from each table to just just share with us. So please just chat for the next 5 minutes, please. 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes is too much. Maybe 2 minutes, please. What is project? What is agile? What is not project? What is not agile? Who wants to go first, please? Let's do this quickly. Okay, let's start from here. Representative, please just tell us what is project, what is not project. There's no right or wrong answer, by the way. This is just for us to understand our background. What do we have as an understanding of what these terms are? Okay, that's why we're here, just to discuss. Please, we'll try as much as possible to make it very interactive. Anyone going from this table, please?
Okay, so project management, just taking the words apart.
Okay.
Managing a project, right? And the agile part is the way you work, taking the word agile and meaning to work smart in a certain way, using all of your resources to see something through and working with everybody's strengths, I think.
Fantastic, thank you. Thank you. Ms. Table, what is project? Oh, have you answered what is not project?
No.
You didn't do that? Fantastic. Yeah, what is project? What is not project? What is agile? What is not agile? On that table, please. No right or wrong answer. We just want to learn.
So we said agile is a system of accomplishing a project. Somebody here said from the little experience they have from BA that there is agile, there is waterfall. And that agile is a system of getting a project done. And then we said project is the combination of methodologies. We know there are 4 different stages of project to accomplishing a task or a set of work, a piece of work.
Thank you. So what is not project?
We did at the time.
What is not agile? Thank you. Over to that table, please.
We didn't have the time. It's not
good.
A project is some kind of an activity, an endeavour you're trying to achieve an end, reach an end. What is not a project? I would say maybe it's something without a focused goal, without an end, or maybe just a task within a project would be, not a project. What is agile? My understanding of agile is it's a way of doing work that allows you to sort of implement changes on the go, compared to the old system, waterfall, was very rigid sequence of things, and it took a long time to be able to update things.
Without, I hope you will not be embarrassed. What did you do?
In software engineer.
Sorry?
Software engineer.
Okay. You just spoke my language, that's why. Over to that table, please.
Okay, so we were not sure about agile, but we decided that project management is something like setting up goals or objectives, and also the special approach to achieving them, beginning with, I would say, needs analysis and maybe some steps that you need to plan beforehand. This is all like the project management. If you speak only about the aims or objectives, maybe this is not project, these are just different themes, yeah. But as for agile, we are not sure.
Thank you very much. If you don't mind, you can clap for yourself. Okay, good. Why is project management important? Is anyone want to try? Why is project management important? Okay, first thing is project management involves all of this. You need a budget. You need to communicate as part of project management. You need planning, you need control, you need to have a method. We're going in there. Method and methodologies, we're going to that point. Documentation. You need documentation for a project. Right? You need to schedule, you need finance, and all of that. So why is project management very important? Take a look at this figure. And my interest is in that last one, which is 68%. It says 68% of organizations outsource their projects to third parties. Who are the third parties? Sorry?
Sorry, I'm just saying teamwork makes the dream work.
So the third party is you, and I. That's the third party. You can come in as an organization, you can come in as a contractor, you can come in as an individual. That is where you belong. organizations outsource. And why do they outsource? It's going to be very interesting when we get to project management. I don't want to run beyond just ahead of my time. So 9.9% of every dollar is wasted due to poor project performance. If you don't know your job as a project manager, you're wasting money for the company. And wasting money for the company, I'm sure if you have your businesses, I'm sure you would not want to waste money. Because why? Wastage is one of the killers of businesses. And companies try as much as possible to avoid as much wastage as possible. So in essence, they need a project manager to help them prevent the waste. You see how important you are for an organization. Okay, 32% of the budget is lost when the project fails to reach its goals. What are some of the things that could make a project fail to reach its goal? Poor project management. Poor project management. Using probably the wrong tool or the wrong approach for the wrong project. 35% of project fails due to change in an organization priority. Great. What is the difference between a business and a project? Anyone? Business and a project. What's the difference? Or are they the same? A business and a project. Okay. Like I said, no right, no wrong answer. If you know it, just say it. If you don't, that's absolutely fine. We're going to go there. I really don't want to give this information before we get to that point. Anyone wants to share? Business and a project. What's the difference?
Well, I just thought that a project would be a specific piece of work that we're doing to achieve a specific goal, while the business would be probably the entire thing. There's lots of projects in it, maybe.
Fantastic. A business is your organization. Project is a portion. And what is that portion? We're going to get to that. 52% of the completed projects experience high scope creep. High scope creep, what does that mean? Okay. You've got a scope for the project. This project is for this. This is the boundary. This is everything that involves this project. But at some point, we're about to implement the project, but something happens that we have to deviate from what we have decided to do. That is a creep to the scope. So the scope is everything that guides the delivery of the project. But when you move away from there, you have deviated, then the project has a very high potential of failing. Okay? Good. So let's go to what is project management. This is now the definition of project management. Project management, if you can't see it, let me read it out for you. Project management is a temporary organization created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products or services according to the agreed business case. That sounds very big. I'm going to break it down. Temporary organization, it means every project is temporary. No project is permanent. Business can be permanent because I'm sure Hilton Hotel has been for so many years. Coca-Cola has been for so many years. That is a business. There are many projects in that business that happen often, time over and over. Those projects, they start, they finish, they move on. Project start, finish, the business carry on. The business moves on. And that's the next point, which says projects are different from business as usual. What is business as usual? Business as usual. Any understanding about that? Go on.
Is business as usual just the mundane, the same thing that you do over and over and over again?
Exactly. Repetition.
Project is
repetition.
Something different.
Business as usual. Like this hotel has this place is hotel, right? They've got a purpose for establishing this business. But in it, let me look around. Yeah, they have alarm clocks, they have things that, or I'm sure they have IT, what's it called? They have IT services going on within an hotel. Those are not actually the core products that they deliver. They deliver hospitality as a business, but IT also functions. So because an IT aspect, or for instance, they want to install printer, that could just be a small unit, which is just a project in the whole business. What's it called? Casa Hotel. Okay? So it's a temporary organization created for the purpose of delivering one or more business products, right? So if you are delivering one or more business products, no matter how big it is, as long as it is not the business itself, you can call it a project. And I heard someone talking about a project. So when you have multiple projects, you can put them under an umbrella called program. When you now have multiple programs, you can put them under an umbrella called, anyone? Project, program, and what?
Organization?
Portfolio. Portfolio. So when you have multiple projects, they can fall under a program. So you can have a program. So when you see someone who is a program manager, the person is managing multiple projects that are intertwined with each other, or they relate with each other. So when you see someone managing portfolio could be something like maybe what's the competition? Yeah, you can have maybe World Cup or something really very big that just connects so many states, so many countries, and all sorts. Or if you have maybe like how do I describe it? Something really very big that just connects.
Like Olympic.
Olympics, yeah, fantastic. Yes, Olympic would be classified as that. So business as usual is business as we do it. Business as we do it on a regular basis. Business as usual. IT, that's one of the IT terms. Okay, who is a project manager? Right? As you're seated, you are a project manager because why? You actually, even if you're not working as a project manager at the moment, look at this. Is there anything that you don't do? I'm sure you communicate. Okay, do you see yourself as a project manager because you communicate? No. Many of us don't know that there are certain things that we do. And just before you came, I actually just did a book signing and book launch event. And basically what helped me, or what made me to write a book, was because I began to see my life as a project. Yes. So every day is a project, because like I just mentioned to you, as the definition of project is a temporary organization. So Monday to Friday, they're temporary because as soon as the week is over, that's it, you can't get it back. This morning till evening, that is temporary because as soon as the day is over, you can't get it back. But what happened between the morning and evening, that is within my control. And I say within my control, meaning that I can plan it, I can monitor the things that I do or things that I do, I can take control of certain things in there. These are certain stages of project management, which we're going to go into. But when we begin to see life each day, your life as a project, you begin to plan them. And that's the reason why I think everybody should have the skill of project management. And if you check whatever organization you are working, the directors definitely have project management training. I can almost assure you that the executive have project management training, or they may not function as project managers, but they do have project management training. Most of the time they are certified. And I like what she said. As a lawyer, she has project management training. That is very interesting because some people think, okay, oh yeah, we don't need it. And I've worked in the hospital before. Some of the doctors there, they are certified as project managers. And I was working as a project manager there. I'll be talking to them and they'll be responding, okay, so what stage are you in this project? And I'm wondering, aren't you supposed to be a doctor? Are you supposed to focus on treating patients? But it's just because life has been evolved to the point where everything that we do is a project, because this life is going to end one day. And that means you may not know the beginning of your life, but the end is going to come. So in between, like I said, temporary organization. In between, what do you do? What do you achieve within that space? That is within control. When you were younger, you probably didn't know. But now that you're mature, or now that you're old enough to be able to know right from left, then you begin to take control and begin to manage it as a project. That is just an application. Anyway, so a project manager is a person that is good at planning. You plan your time, 24 hours. What do I fit into the 24 hours? A person that assembles and leads a project team. You lead yourself first, and you begin to lead other people. As a project manager, there's no way you can actually function very well if you cannot delegate. as a project manager, let me quickly go now that the project manager you could start. I started from my project management experience from being a project coordinator. Project coordinator works under a project manager. So project coordinator coordinates the project at the level, at the coordination level. When it comes to decision making, the project manager then takes over, right? And then, because of time, I really don't want to go too much into this. I think someone mentioned that they are business analysts. Who's a business analyst? Any business analyst here? Business analyst? Fantastic. Good. I also got trained as a business analyst. And interestingly, most of my project management roles have used a lot of business analyst terms in there. Like when you talk of gap analysis, because what happened when you talk of options appraisers, and now even in my role as a squad lead, being a squad person, we still use what they call use cases, user stories, software engineer, user stories. Do you use Agile for your software engineering?
Yeah.
Okay. Which tool do you use for Agile? Which tool of Agile do you use? Jira. Good. So you use Jira. Do you use Confluence? Because some Jira platform comes with Confluence as well. Okay. You use Confluence?
Kanban.
Yeah, Kanban. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So without deviating, basically, finance, that is part of budgeting, because every project, somebody is giving money to it. That's where you talk of the sponsors, and I'm going to take us through the journey, because project comes with a journey. You must have a journey. I'm not going to take too much time on this. Issues and risk management. We're going to get into that. Any difference between risk and issues? Risk and issues. Anyone understanding risk and issues? Risk and issues. Are they the same or different?
Risk is something that might potentially happen, and issues, I would say, is something that is happening and needs to be sorted out.
Thank you. Simply put, issue is a problem. Issue is a problem. The risk is the potential problem. I'm just saying this because I've been at interviews that singular question could disqualify you from getting a job. Just that explanation. So what's the difference between an issue and a risk? So you begin to think of, okay, what could be a risk? A risk is snow. If you have snow today, this place may not be as full as it is at the moment. That is a risk. So how do we mitigate it? Then we begin to plan, okay, so do we get people to join online? So you have to mitigate the risk. So that's the reason why it's a risk, because you still have option to be able to try and prevent it from happening. But when it comes to an issue, it has happened. You just need to find a fix. Okay, that's for that. Reporting and documentation. Managers do that, but in the case of project managers, I'm sure, I don't know if any one of you, I don't know if you are aware of highlights report, checkpoint report. Anyone aware of that? Highlight report, checkpoint report. Okay, so like I was talking about the levels. So from a project coordinator level, as a project coordinator, right? Yeah, project coordinator and project support, they're almost the same. Project coordinator, project support, they're almost the same. I think there's one other one like that. I can't remember. And there's a difference between project management and project management officer. A project manager is definitely different from a project management officer. Anyone understand the difference? Do you want me to go into that? Because I'm beginning to even move. I think I'm moving away from this slide, but I think it's just good for us to understand. Because when you go for interviews, then these questions could come up. Project PMO, as they call them. Anyone knows what PMO is? Okay, PMO, simply put, is just the governance aspect of projects. Governance. Basically, a project manager is doing his job, doing a job and all of that, but there's a body that looks after the governance of the project management office within an organization. This room right now, we are all project managers. Somebody could be the project management officer, then working with all the project managers, making sure that they comply with the standard of project management within that organization. Does that give any clarity? Do you have any question about that now? So project manager, you could be a project manager. All of us are project managers in here.
So that be the person representing the business on the project.
Okay. So a PMO is still part of the project management circle. So the person that is representing the business could be, let me look at the name that I give these people. It could be a stakeholder, right? A stakeholder is somebody that has any influence or interest about the business. But a sponsor, you can have a sponsor, or they call them project board. Project board are people that sit at the board level to understand and make decisions based on what the project manager is doing with regards to the project. Does that give any clarity, or do you want me to really explain again? Do you understand that? No. Okay. I'm going to the process. When I get to the process, I will explain this very well. Let me quickly move. So stakeholder management means that everyone that is affected or has an interest in the project manager needs to manage them. Because why? I am not, okay, for instance, they want to repair this road, and I go through this road every day, right? I'm going to be affected if they block it. So I'm a stakeholder. I didn't pay any dime for them to fix it, but I'm a stakeholder because it's going to affect me in one way or the other. So they need to carry me along. And that's the reason why you can get letters about some things, some decisions that have been made, because they want to carry you along as a stakeholder. So these are some of the roles in project management. Just look around if there's anything that you have any question. So you have a sponsor. Sponsor is the person that is representing the business, but they necessarily do not need to be part of the project management office as such. You can just have a representative from there. Okay, so when you have a representative from the sponsor level, right, the person is only interested in how the project is going to bring about return of investment and benefit realization. I'm going to go into that at a later time because I don't want to jump, because all these things will make more sense at a later time. Okay, these are the roles. These are some of the roles, right? Moving very quickly to the next one because we've not even gone far. So these are the different methodologies of project management. I'm going to spend a bit of time in here. So looking at this, is there anyone that you're familiar with? Anyone that you're familiar with? I'm sure somebody mentioned this, waterfall. Yeah. Right. So waterfall is just stepwise kind of like approach. You have to take the first step before you take the second step. So it's sort of like, okay, you just have to, it's just like water falling from water. And this is also similar to Prince 2 framework, Prince 2 methodology. Okay? Prince 2 is also stage-wise. You have to go from one stage to the next stage, to the next stage, to the next stage. You don't jump the stages. Okay, so these are some of the methodologies, right? But, okay, let's just go on. Prince 2, Six Sigma, Lean, is what they call lean-agile as well. You have Lean as a methodology. You also have lean-agile as also a methodology. That is a mixture of lean practice and agile practices. You have adaptive project management framework, and this is Kanban. Somebody mentioned Kanban. Anyone else is head of Kanban? Kanban, thank you. Scrum is also here. Okay, good. I just thought I should just show you that, and then we'll move very quickly to the next one. Okay, so talking a little bit about Prince 2. The well-recognized methodology in the UK is Prince 2. Business justification, this is from the sponsor. This person is looking at, okay, how does your project justify that the money that we have given to it is being used properly? So a sponsor is only interested in that. Not only, but they are very much interested in the fact that, okay, yes, how can you justify to me that, okay, the money that I've given to you is being used properly? Define roles and responsibilities. If the roles and responsibilities are not defined properly, it is not managed properly as a project. Learn from experience. That's why we have lessons learned. So I'm delivering a project now. At the end of this project, I should have a document called lessons learned. which gives us an understanding of the lessons that we've learned in this project. So the next person that is going to do a similar project picks up that document and reads it. Okay, what are the lessons that I can pick from this previous project that can help me? Okay, so that I don't fall into the same thing. Managed by stages. Stage-wise, Prince 2 project management is stage-wise. So you have to make sure that you finish one stage before you go to the next one. So that's why the project has to be managed by stages. Managed by exception. Okay, the project is running okay, but at some point you face a challenge that you don't have to, you cannot go ahead, then you need to create an exception plan. Exception plan is what gives the project board an understanding of, okay, what you're going through. Do we need to be able to plan for an exception when it does occur? Focus on product. Simply put, this is just talking about quality. Focus on product. Our focus when delivering the project must be on the product. How is this project fit for purpose? How is this project going to deliver quality to the users? And tailored to suit the project environment. This aspect is where Agile comes in. Because Prince 2 originally, at the time I did my first Prince 2 qualification, it was just pure Prince 2. But nowadays, you will see Prince 2 with Agile. I believe that's what they're doing right now, because Agile they are beginning to slot Agile into Prince 2. And then I will explain why. So tailored to suit the project environment. Basically, you can be running the project management environment, or you can be running a project, right, using Prince 2. But you're slotting Agile in there. You're slotting Lean Sigma in there. You can make use of Kanban even in the Prince 2 project management environment. So this is where you tailor it to the project environment. What is the environment? What is the project environment that you have in your organization? Okay, I hope we're still great. Remember the time. This is another 7 process, right? So this 7 process, I think this is where I want us to, this is going to answer your question. So basically, this is coming from directing a project. This is one of the processes. Directing a project is only for the project board. That's the only thing that the project board, that's what they do. So the project board, they are selected people that the organization or the business have selected for them to be able to oversee what the project manager is doing. So every stage, you have to make sure that you deliver that stage first before you go to the next one, without taking much of your time. So from the sponsor, a mandate is given. That's what they call the project mandate. A project mandate could just be a project, maybe a letter. Mr. A, please. Okay, let me just rewind a bit. There is no project without a change. Every project is a response to change. So when there is a change in an organization, when there is something that is not going accordingly, and there is need for us to change that thing, a project is being initiated. And how do projects get initiated? Let me just explain it. So there is a mandate that comes from the project sponsor. Somebody says, okay, our computers are not working properly. We need to change them. Or this building, we want to make sure that we want to change this room. We want to change this room to become bigger. That is the change. We can't break the whole building. We are just dealing with a piece, which is just this room, right? So then that becomes a project because there's the need for a change. We want to change how it looks, right? So therefore, the CEO sends a letter to the project manager or to somebody within the organization who has a bit of influence in the project. Okay, we want to change that room. We realize that, okay, this room is too small. Can you change it? Then that becomes a project. That is the mandate that comes from the sponsor. And then it's okay, we want to put this money down for this particular project at for this period of time. Okay, the project manager then comes up with maybe then the project board or whoever that is responsible for that creates a business case that supports that change. So the business case is a case to just present, okay, this is why we're doing this, and then this is what we want to achieve at the end. Then that then helps us to be able to create a project initiation documentation. That's what they call PID, right? PID is being created, and then PID helps to be able to manage the project throughout. And that's after that time, you then come up with stage plan, and you come up with project plan as well. Project plan, you can have that. Some people have project plan on Gantt chart. and some people have project planning even on Excel. Depends on which one. So I've just given that explanation just to be able to go back to your question. Just I give it a bit of understanding now.
Yeah.
Right, just I help now. Okay, good. So now let's go back. So this process is only for the project board. They only do nothing else about that other than directing the project. So when the project manager is coming with, okay, we want to start up this project, he communicates to the project board. Okay, yes, go ahead, please continue. Go ahead, start it. So therefore, the project manager is also saying, okay, we want to initiate a project. He speaks to the project board. Let's have a project board meeting. We go for the project board meeting, and maybe I didn't mention it before. So for most of these things, you may have to organize or create what they call project board meeting. And in a project board meeting, right, to set up a project board meeting, try not to confuse people there. Please ask questions. In a project board meeting, that's where you invite the people that are, I think you have a quality assurance in there, you have the project assurance people, you have different people that are coming from the users who represent the users to be on the board for them to be able to give their view about what the project manager is doing and how the project is progressing. So the project board then decides, okay, yes, we can we can make progress now, right? So at the project board level, right, there's what they call terms of reference. Terms of reference also govern what the project managers have the right to do or what decisions they can do at that level. So that's just that. I should just quickly explain a little bit about project board. So initiating the project board approves that, it comes out to the project manager, and then this is managing the product delivery. So this is what the project manager also tries to manage how that is delivered. You control the stage. Controlling the stage, that's where the stage plan is being created and being approved and all of that. That's what that does. And managing stage boundaries, that's where you manage how you move from one stage to the other. Ensuring that, okay, yes, this stage is being closed completely before you move to the next one. And the last one is closing the project. Closing the project, that's where you have the end of project report, and you also have the lessons learned as part of the end of project report. Until you have those documents, the project is not yet completed. And that report has to be approved. Okay, any question on that?
Yes, I had. What's the difference between for me, this sounds the same. Initializing and starting is different.
Okay, so starting a project is when the mandate is being given. So you said, okay, yes, this is the mandate for you to start a project, right? You start a project by gathering requirements. The business analyst does that. They gather the requirement of, okay, this is what is required in this project, right? Initiating the project is where the project initiation document comes in. That's where you identify, okay, what are the risks associated with the project? What is the cost of this project? You do analysis, you do also budgeting as part of that. So that's what you do at the initiation. So when that initiation document is being presented to the board, they review it and say, okay, yes, this project can be initiated. So as soon as that is approved, then you start moving to the next stage, which could then be the designing stage, or you move to the implementation stage, and then you carry on. So the actual work has not started till after initiation. So the starting is just, okay, you can start working on the planning and the requirement gathering. Have I lost anyone? Have I lost anyone?
Not completely.
Okay, go on.
Closing the project. Does the project have to be completed before it is closed?
You can abort a project. And when you say completed before you close it, okay, you have to have delivered the project. And when closing the project, it just means that we are closing this chapter. We are not doing anything else about this project anymore. Because like I said, it's a temporary stuff. So you then move that project. For instance, you have installed computers as part of the project. Then you move those computers onto BAU, business as usual. That's when the service desk begins to monitor and manage those computers. You have been able to change this room as a project. Then what happens? You hand it over to the maintenance and the facility people for them to be able to maintain and then take care of the room. Do you get that? So after you have completed, you've delivered the product. Okay, you are trying to create a mobile phone. You've created a mobile phone and it's now working, right? Everything is all right. Are you going to leave that project like that? Because the project itself is just like a temporary organization, like we said. So that project, you have delivered the mobile phone already. The mobile phone is working. You need to close it with making sure that there's documentation that supports that this project has actually been completed. So the project board then says, okay, you know what? Yes, we agree that this project has been completed, but the benefit realization may not actually happen after you close the project. It may be afterwards, or some benefits could actually be realized even within the closure of the project. It's easier when we practicalize this, but that's just a simple explanation. Does that help?
Yeah, so in between that, when does transformation come into place?
Transformation. Okay, the transformation aspect, right? That is when the value is being delivered. So we are simply talking about output here. There's a difference between output and outcome. So the output is within the project, but the outcome is after the project. And that outcome, I think, is part of the slide. So we'll get there. The outcome. So there's difference between output. This is an output, but the outcome is what people gain from reading the book. Any question before we go on?
What's the section at the bottom that's just cut off?
Okay, that's planning. That one is not required. Because planning is still part of what the project manager does anyway. Good. Move to the next one, which is this is the team. 7, 7, 7. What are the 3 sevens?
Processes.
Yeah. 7 processes, 7 principles, and 7 teams. These are the 7 teams, and these ones are really very important because they have their own documents themselves. This is a risk. Risk is big. You can learn. Some people take risk and they learn it for years. Some people live for risk, and we've just discussed that. Okay, uncertainty is a risk, something that is yet to happen today. Change management is a big thing. So that's the reason why these 7 elements alone could take you years to go through. Organization progress, business case. Business case is the case. It's more like you're presenting a case why you should do that project. It's a case for you justifying why you should do the project. So you have plan, quality, organization, and project. Basically, this organization is just talking about the people. The people that will be working in the project. The quality is just talking about the fit for purpose and the focus of product. The plans, how you plan your project, the risk, the uncertainty, the change, how do you ensure that you manage the change that is coming to this project. The progress, how do you monitor the progress? I mentioned 2 reports there. There's checkpoint report and there's highlight report. Checkpoint report is what you get from the team manager. So the hierarchy is this. The team manager are the specialists that are doing the job. For instance, the project manager is the one a project manager for this building. I don't know why I'm using this building. Maybe because at least we can see it. A project manager for this building has contractors that are working with him or with her. Those could be called team managers. Team managers could be the manager for even other contractors, right? But the hierarchy does not talk about those ones that are below the team manager. So the team manager reports to the project manager and he gives a checkpoint report. Please write this down if you really want to. Checkpoint report is what the team manager gives to the project manager. The project manager then provides an highlight report to the project board. So that's what the project board read, and then they understand that, okay, this is what the project manager has done within the stage. The stage could be a month, 2, 3. But within that stage, it depends on how often the project board requests for the report. Did you get that, or do you also have a question?
No, I'm just trying to take it in.
That's why I said this is just a masterclass. The proper training is going to take. Ooh, that was cool. Can we shoot?
Yeah,
Because I'm only just talking there.
Please, what's the difference between the highlight report and the dashboard?
Okay. Highlight report is what is produced by the project manager to the project board. Dashboard is a vision for the organization. Yeah, it's vision board for the organization. You can have a dashboard for a project as well, but that is from a project manager to the business. Just projecting, okay, yes, this is what we have done so far. This is how this benefits the organization, or this is how you are able to get your return of investment. Dashboard that's where we look at charts and all of that, where you look at all the metrics and all of that. And we're going to go into that because dashboards they're very helpful, even in Agile specifically. If you notice, we've not even gotten into Agile yet. So I'm still laying the foundation. Let's go. Okay, so these are the variables for successful projects. Variables, like I said, the cost. Your project will be measured based on the cost. It is a temporary organization. If you manage a project and you tell us from the beginning that it's going to cost you £1 million, if you spend 500,000 on the project, you can still be classified as a failure. You have budgeted 1 million. Why spend less? Why spend less? Something has gone wrong. Is it that you have not spent the money that you're supposed to spend? If you go beyond that £1 million, you need to be able to make use of what they call tolerance level. Let me not go into that, it may confuse you. Let me not go into that tolerance level. Tolerance level is simply a range of parameter or a range of figures where, as a project manager, the project board agrees with you that you can either go above it or go below it. So that's the tolerance level. That's the level that you've been given. Okay. So time scale. You've been asked to deliver a project within 6 months. If you deliver within 4 months, the project can crash because they are thinking, okay, there's a risk there. How come you have asked us to give you? Because the project board are constantly waiting to hear from you. So within that 4 months, you would have told them that even though we calculated or projected that we forecasted that this project is going to cost us 6 months, we're actually going to deliver in 4 months. They should be knowing on a regular basis. Not at the end that you're telling them, oh yeah, we are finished in 4 months. Wait a minute, you said 6 months. What has happened? So they're going to question you that, okay, something has gone on. Something has gone on. So they would suspect that maybe the project has not been delivered successfully. And that doesn't speak well. If anything is going to change, you can raise, you make sure that you let the project board know on time. Quality, that's fit for purpose. I've mentioned that a couple of times. The scope, that's the boundary and the parameter. Basically, you and I, we can't go beyond this room until we open that door. So the boundary of the project of this training is within these walls. That's the boundary. So a project has a boundary as well. A project has limitation because it's temporary. So you can't go beyond the boundary, and that's why you have scope. Earlier on I mentioned about scope creep. So when you break this wall and you go outside, that's where you have scope creep. You have gone beyond. Let's say you're supposed to build this room, and you break this place and you begin to build outside when you have not agreed with the project board, and that's scope creep. And it happens sometimes when maybe the project manager has taken his eyes off tracking project. Risk, uncertainty, we've talked about that. Benefit, somebody asked about outcome and output. Benefit could either be a positive or negative. Okay? And if you want to reduce the number of calls to your IT service desk, that is a project. So you are reducing the number of calls. So you put in a project to be able to reduce the number of calls. So that is the benefit that, okay, the improvement also could be even. So benefits also ask the question, why are we doing this? What's the benefit in this project to us? The organization, the sponsor is looking for why. What's the benefit? And I've talked about benefits realization. There is also a plan in project initiation documentation called it's called benefits realization plan. Yes, you have to plan on how you're going to realize the benefits. You have to plan, you have to state that in there. Speed is essential for any project. So if you're a project manager and you have never created PID, please learn to do that. Please. And it's not that difficult. I'm going to explain something at the end where you can get some of these tools, some of these materials that can help you. Okay, outcome. Output is the deliverable, while outcome is the value, the impact, the return of investment. What exactly is the impact of this project? So we try as much as possible to renovate this place. The output is that this place will look beautiful. Then what is the impact of this place looking beautiful? So that people that come inside, they'll feel better, or they feel great of coming into a very beautiful environment. That is that. Okay, let's get into business. The long-awaited Agile has appeared.
Agile is here.
Agile versus traditional project management. So what is traditional project management? Let me not make this very complicated. So Agile, in a sense, we mentioned earlier on, is a methodology, right? That's what we mentioned. But let me just break that down to make you understand that Agile is just as simple as a mindset. Okay? Agile itself is not a tool. Agile is the mindset. Okay? Agile is not a tool. Jira as James mentioned Jira, you mentioned Confluence. Those are tools. Agile is not a tool. So you can't use Agile. You apply Agile because it is a mindset. It's a mindset, and I'm going to break it down. And I'm going to really explain this to us. Why? So Agile and traditional project management. Agile, like I said, is a mindset. Traditional project management is also a way of doing project. So when should you use Agile? Okay, we've talked about we've talked about traditional project management. When should you use Agile? When the project or what you're working on is very complex, very chaotic. That's why you have the green one. Very, very chaotic, and there are so many unknowns. Unknowns meaning they are not very visible. You don't know how to even get to where you're going to. But you know, in a traditional project management, like I said, you plan before you even start implementation. You don't plan everything in Agile. But do we do planning in Agile? Yes, we do. I think it's getting very interesting now. Let's go Agile. Let's go Agile. Okay, so I've gone through the traditional, which is the Prince 2 that we've talked about, 7 this, 7 that, to make you understand that those are based on stages. You have to move from one stage to the other. Agile does not have any stage, right? What it does is it helps us change our mindset to how we deliver projects. I think 2001 or so, a couple of software engineers just decided, okay, why do we have to wait for this to happen before we go to this? So they wanted to disrupt things, and they sat down and decided, okay, you know what, let's bring something in. And they decided to bring in, Agile has been in existence for so many years. I have read software engineering at the University of Hertfordshire, I think a couple of years ago. And I heard about Agile. Even I did my thesis on pair programming, which is part of Agile. I don't know, I mean, you've heard of extreme programming, right? Extreme programming, yes. Extreme programming is also a framework that is part of Agile. Extreme programming is part of Agile. Scrum is part of Agile. Scrum is a framework. So let me break this down. Agile is the methodology, which is a mindset, a mindset, right? But you have frameworks that are still under it. You have Scrum as a framework. You have Kanban as a framework. You have extreme programming as a framework. You have rapid delivery as a framework. You have test-driven development as a framework. You have feature-driven development as a framework. FDD, TDD. So this Agile by nature works in environments where there is number of unknowns and interfaces you need. Okay. So why? Maybe I should ask the audience. Why do you need Agile when it's very chaotic and very complex? Why? I've said some things around that. If there's anyone that wants to. Sorry?
Because the mindset.
Thank you.
How you feel, I guess.
Yeah. Any addition to that?
Yeah, I think you use Agile because you'll be able to check on what you've done if you are really on track.
Good. Thank you. Because we are far, time is going. Let me just move on. Agile is a way of looking at a problem and a way to tackle it. That is just a summary of what I've said about the mindset. Did you see? It's a way. It's not actually how you solve it. It's a way of looking at it. You look at it from the perspective of, okay, this is how I want to do it, because this is what this problem looks like. Is this a complex project? Is this a complex problem or a complex change? Then let me use Agile. Is this a complicated change? Let me use Agile. And the traditional, I'm not too sure if I needed to explain that. So if something is straightforward, if you're building a house, I'm sure you start from the foundation. You can't start from the top, from the roof. You cannot roof a house before you do the foundation, right? But in Agile, you can actually do the roof before you start the foundation. You see that it's a different way of doing things. Okay, so this is Agile project management. For instance, the project sponsor gives a project mandate here, and the product owner, should I mention this one? Okay. Just look at this picture, and I will just explain. If you have any question, let me know. Who is the product owner? Okay. So this person, this is the sponsor from the customer team manager executive. Executive, this just represent the sponsors. The product owner is representing these people.
Somebody that's on the outside, it's employed externally.
No. The person could be inside, but this person is representing these people. These people are too busy to be part of your project team. This person has been nominated to come as part of your project team to help them do their job. Okay? This product owner is responsible solely for this product backlog. Anyone understand what product backlog is? Okay. Please give us explanation. Product backlog.
Yeah, product backlog is the items that will be like a project. If you're on a project, what you do. So it's like you having you plan according to your work, and if you having lacking behind in that job, that is when you go back to your backlog and see what is there. Then you bring it out.
Fantastic. This is just your requirement list. Simple. Thank you. Requirement list. So what do you need to do within that project? Your list of requirements for that project is captured as part of the product backlog. What's the difference between product backlog and this sprint backlog?
Sprint backlog is like sprint time. It's like every 15 minutes every day of the time that you spend with all the projects, all the people that are concerned with the project.
You go the wrong way. That's 15 minutes. That's a different thing. We're going to come to that. Let me just quickly make it really simple. See, you're in line with that. The 15 minutes that you mentioned, just make my head go, oh, no, 15 minutes. Yeah, go please.
I say that a sprint is like a meeting, like you said, that happens regularly. Like there's a particular point it must happen.
Sprint is not a meeting. Go on.
A sprint is a short part of the entire project.
Very close. Sprint is time box. Time box is the period of time that you have agreed to execute, deliver a piece of work as part of the product backlog. Basically, a product owner is responsible for product backlog. Product owner, product backlog. This is the backlog by the product owner to be able to explain what the executive wants. So the executive wants a building that has this in there, that has window in there, that has all of that in there. The product owner will not keep that in his head. He will put it down on the product backlog. So this is where the team pick the work and they do what? they assign for themselves what they can do within a sprint. Sprints could either be 1 week, 2 weeks, or a month. So if the whole project is going to be delivered within 1 year, then we can have a sprint of 2 weeks. 2 weeks means that we can have 52 weeks in a year, then we have how many? Maybe 26, yeah. Then you have 26 sprints in a year without break. So your sprint is a time box that has been agreed for you to deliver a piece of work as part of the product backlog. Does that explain it? Any question around that? Do you understand it now? And then this is where the sprint planning comes, because if it's for 2 weeks, a sprint is 2 weeks, a sprint is 1 week, then we need to plan for that sprint alone. We are not planning for the whole project in the traditional. Traditional will plan for the whole project. They can spend 3 months to plan for the project, and you know what happened? After planning, you start the implementation, and you discover a problem, and that project is aborted, and you are no longer doing that project again. What happened to the money spent to plan? That is the waste. So because we try to avoid the waste, then we make use of agile, which means that we don't plan for the whole project, because anything can change along the line. There are so many unknowns, so many uncertainties in an agile environment. So let's plan for the sprint alone. 2 weeks planning. Oh, that's fine. We can commit to the plan for 2 weeks. If at the end of 2 weeks, if we fail, we'll go back to another plan again. We will see how we can do it. It's just a piece of work that we need to deliver within that sprint. Does that help? Yeah. So that's where the sprint planning comes in, and this, yeah. So the team, you can see 3 people in here. In an agile team, ideally you have just 3 roles. 3 roles. Who are these people? Number 1, let me see. That's number 2, and the third person is not here. Who is the third person?
Scrum Master.
Agile coach.
I can see the product owner here. I can see the Scrum Master. Who is the third person here?
Agile coach.
No.
Stakeholder.
No.
Development team.
Huh?
Development team.
Project
Yes, the development team. Those are the 3 roles in an agile team. These 3 roles doesn't mean that you only have 3 people. You can have, at least ideally, you should have maybe like minimum of 12, maximum of 12 people in an agile team. Let me make it very simple. In the Scrum team, I'll come back to why I said Scrum team. So product owner, Scrum Master, and development team. Development team comprises of maybe the business analyst, the development team, the QA tester, the automation tester, the DevOps, and all of that. All the contractors fall within the development team because they want to developing this one. So you can have one of, okay. So let's quickly go quickly, right? So this is Agile Manifesto. You can see this anywhere. So I don't want to go through it because of time. You can see this anywhere, but take note of the fact that any Agile team must adhere to this manifesto. You have 12 principles and you have 4 values. Satisfy the customer. Please take a look at this point and you will see relationship here. Satisfy the customer. Collaborate daily. That's where you have the 15 minutes daily meeting. And I will stand up, thank you. Some people call it stand up, some people call it daily scrum calls. And that's different. Motivated individuals. Everyone within that team must be motivated. And there are a couple of things that are involved. So you can see this because of time. Can I move on? You can get this anywhere. But as an agile team, as a member of an agile team, you need to understand it because you're going to be measured for success based on this. And next, these are the 4 key agile values. The values, these are the core values that every agile team must be able to comply with. Key, individuals and interactions over processes. Here you can see that you are not working stage-wise. So why do we need a lot of processes? Why do we need a lot of tools? Let's interact. We have meetings every day. Let's interact as individuals. Come on the call, speak, facilitate calls. Let's have conversation. Working software over comprehensive documentation. We are not interested in project initiation documentation. Just come and do the work. Just deliver a working software for me. That's what matters, right? So your documentation, you can eat it up, but just give me working software. Responding to change. Why are we responding to change? Because it is iterative. we are constantly delivering pieces of the work. So so at the end of the sprint, we encounter a challenge, we deal with it because we have to move to the next one. We're not waiting to the end before we now calculate the lesson length. That's the difference. So customer collaboration. We are collaborating with customers because one of the key principles is satisfy the customers. Interestingly, when it comes to Agile, the customers are priorities because you have to carry them along even as part of the project, as part of the Agile team. You have to carry them along continuously. Okay, I hope we don't have. Okay, so this is just what we have been waiting for. Scrum is one of the framework of Agile. This is what is actually very common. Has anyone heard of Scrum before? Scrum, good. So this is just what Scrum is all about. So let me just make it really very quickly. So these are the roles. Like I said, 3 roles. You have the product owner, Scrum Master, and the team members. This is not part of the roles. These are just a bunch of people that are called stakeholders. Even the person that we have never seen before. Stakeholder to come and inspect what you have done for that sprint. Sprint retrospective. This is where the team, the Agile team, they retrospectively think of how they have worked in the sprint and how can they improve themselves. Okay? You can cancel the sprint. It's just as simple as that. So the product backlog, if you see, is owned by the product owner, right? The sprint goal, the development team decide the sprint. The sprint goal comes from the product owner. The practices of Scrum itself is lengthy, but reading the Scrum guide is only 15 pages. So when you read the guide, I read the guide a couple of times and I thought, oh, I'm a Scrum Master, fantastic, let's go. But I was made to realize that I've been practicing Scrum now for some years and I'm still practicing it. And you genuinely just have to keep learning on the job. So don't be afraid to actually go into any of this job if you have the opportunity, because you're going to be learning on them. Okay? I'm not going to go too much on this because of time. I'm not even starting Kanban at all. Okay, so what are the pillars of Scrum? The pillars, these are the things that are holding the Scrum out. You have house, which is Scrum, you have the transparency, you have the inspection, and you have adaptation. These 3, the team of Scrum, a Scrum team must have transparency because you must be transparent with each other. Because you are working on a project, so you have to be transparent with each other. If you're not ready to be transparent, please go. Inspection means that as we come on the call, daily calls, as we come on review calls, we inspect how we are doing. That's what it is. And what do we do when we inspect? You don't just inspect and you leave it there. You have to adapt to changes. You have to adapt to, okay, I think we've inspected that last sprint, we didn't finish all the sprint. The estimation, we had estimation of 100, and the average, what's it called? The average velocity was maybe 50, so we deliver 50. Then, should we be planning for 50 next sprint? Then you adapt. Should we plan? So that's where you inspect what you have done, and that's when you probably that's when you do the retrospective, and then you see how you can improve. So these are the values. You have courage. Everyone in the team must be courageous. You must be focused, because we have to focus in order for us to be able to deliver the sprint goal and the product, the overall product goal. You have to be committed as a team. You have to respect each other as a team and make sure that you're open, because in this team we collaborate. And how do you collaborate with someone who is not open-minded? How do you collaborate with someone who is not saying anything, who is not letting you know what their concerns are? We are dealing with unknowns here, man. Please be open. We have to deliver this sprint. So please let me know what the problem is so we can fix it together. You can't hide that to yourself because we're working together. That's just what it is. So we have to work together. Okay. Kanban, big boy. This is a big boy because it's not something that you see everywhere. How many people have heard of Kanban before? See, not a lot. Okay, question?
Yeah, so does that mean that the Scrum that you've just shown, that's part of the Agile framework?
Yeah, Agile is a methodology.
So
Scrum is a framework. Kanban is also a framework.
From Agile, they all provide
Yes.
value.
Yeah.
Okay. And they're all relevant to projects.
Yeah, sorry. Go on.
So
That's fine.
I just had a thought. Does Scrum stand for anything? Is it an acronym or?
No, actually. No. So basically, I think Scrum is just, that's a very good question. I actually don't think it came from anywhere. It doesn't stand for anything. But yeah, like Kanban, what does it stand for?
I think Scrum came from rugby.
Yes, that's true. You've read the guide. Exactly, she's read the guide. So what happened is you can read the guide, you will understand the theoretical understanding. Yes. But what happened is practice. Have you worked as a Scrum Master before?
No.
Exactly, it's a different ball game. So you need to really get yourself in there. Get yourself in there. And that is what I'm doing, is just for people to really understand that what happened is when you get in there, because I've done Scrum, I'm certified in Scrum, and also I've done advanced. As a Scrum Master, right, you do more of even coaching your team, coaching the product owner, coaching the organization for them to be effective, for them to be able to deliver, and to adhere to what? To the agile mindset, because it's a mindset. You can't teach people on how to do these things. You have to help them to be able to embrace this new mindset. So that's where coaching comes in. So when you read these things, you will only have the knowledge of, okay, this is what it says. But how do you practicalize this? How do you help people to be able to do this? Okay. So, Scrum, rugby. Kanban, I believe, came from Toyota, right? Because Toyota as well. So, Kanban basically is, if you have been to the factory before, you know, in a factory, the machines or the machineries or whatever you call them, they, as soon as they finish from one, the particular machine will only do what the machine has been assigned to do. You finish that, you pass it over to the next machine. Maybe assembling factory or so. You do what you are assigned to do, you pass it to the next one. That one does what it's supposed to do, it moves to the next one. That's exactly what Kanban is all about. Kanban as a board. So, okay, I didn't say that. Scrum as a board on Jira, Kanban as a board, which also sits on Jira. Okay? Jira is the tool. Then you have the Scrum board on Jira, you have a Kanban board even on Jira. I think there's another tool as well. I don't know if anyone has heard of Asana. Asana is also a tool that you can use to have a Scrum board. I don't know about Kanban board on Asana. So these are the values for Kanban because of time. Values of Kanban: transparency, balance, collaboration, customer focus, flow, leadership, understanding, agreement, and respect. These are the values and the agendas, principles, practices. You have limits, work in progress, because basically you can have three columns or three columns on the Kanban board. The three columns is work to do, work in progress, and work done. But they call them to do, work in progress, and done. Why is that? I'm sure some of us we are very familiar with to-do list, right? When you have to-do list, you put them on the to-do list. That's the left most column. You put your to-do. This is what we want to do in this. Okay, Kanban, we don't actually work with sprints, so it is flowing continuously. Kanban is not time box. That's the difference between Kanban and Scrum. Kanban is not time box. Kanban flows. Okay? I thought let me just mention that. That's the difference. Scrum is time box. You have to deliver at a particular time, which is 1 week, 2 weeks, or 4 weeks. But Kanban, you can continue to do the work. Okay? Because it is more of like you're assembling things, so you move from one to the other. You move from to-do list to to work in progress, and from work in progress, when it's done, then you move the ticket to done. It is done. Okay? I thought let me just quickly explain that. But okay, these are the key practices of Kanban. You visualize, like I said, to-do list, doing, and done. Those are the three key columns on the board, on the Kanban board. 3, share work and flow, and then you have limit work in progress. So on a particular column, you can set limits for it. That I want this, that as a group, we don't want to have more than 3 work to be in progress. We don't want to have more than 3 items to be in progress before we get them into done, or before we move another ticket into doing. So we have to make sure that, okay, we work on the work in progress, make sure that we finish them and move them into done before we get anything into the doing column. Okay? So, like I said, it's a flow. It manages a flow. It flows from one column to the other. So you just flow with it as a Kanban, board. Any question before we go on? I don't know if anyone wants to stay here longer, but we're just running off. I'm just going to round up now, and then we can ask some questions afterwards. Is that okay? Mike, go on. Is that okay? Okay. All of these information that I've bombarded you with, so then what? What happens after that? Basically, you need to identify yourself, do a SWOT analysis, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, identify the opportunities that have been open to you, know the area of your threats. What don't you know how to do? I remember very well there was a time that I was working as a project manager, and I thought, oh yes, I think I'm experienced. And I went for an interview for another role, and I was asked to actually explain the flow of projects, how projects come from the sponsor then to closure. And I struggled to be able to explain that. And at that point I realized, okay, this is a weakness for me. And one of the first few things that I did was to be able to go back, and I understood it. And now, yes, I can be able to explain that very well. Okay, so you identify yourself, you develop yourself, and build up your expertise. Build your expertise. How do you do that? You begin to see everything that you do as a project. Like I had a book launch today, it was a project. Anything. If you have a charity, run it as a project. If you have your children, you can turn them to projects. Begin to plan their day. Begin to plan things and begin to communicate to them as a project. Seriously, that's how you begin to practice projects. You don't just learn project management by reading about it. You have to practice them. You have to practice the things that you're learning. How do you justify the business that you're doing? How do you justify that you are taking care of your children appropriately? You think about that. That's a continuous business justification. How do you ensure that you are giving quality time to your child? That is part of the principles of project management. Quality. How do you give quality to the work that you do?
How do you manage your spouse?
I have not mentioned that because my wife is
very big. And I think Agile is good for that.
But we have a question there.
I've not mentioned anything that.
No, because
I'm exempted from that conversation.
Because when we were talking about project earlier, I wanted to make a contribution when I came in. I think project is about must have a start point and a end point.
Yes.
That's the project. And what is not a project is something that doesn't have a start point and doesn't have an end point. So when we're talking about managing your spouse now, I thought it doesn't have an end point. It's not a project. It doesn't have an end point.
But you can actually break it down into projects. How to manage your spouse on Monday.
That's become a portfolio.
That would be another masterclass.
Sir, your wife is my friend.
So you live agile, be very flexible, embrace changes, try as much as possible to embrace agility in what we do. And more importantly, I've mentioned agile, and consistently I've talked about the relationship with customers and stakeholders. How do we relate with people? Make yourself valuable to the people that you're serving, the community. Those are ways that we can also make ourselves to be very valuable. Be visible on LinkedIn. I don't know how many of us are on LinkedIn. Your CV as well. Make yourself very visible. And chat. I have many mentors on my LinkedIn. Many mentors. I just connect with them. And, I like what you're doing. Please, yes. So I try as much as possible to make myself very visible. I share more of your achievements than responsibility. On your CVs, I would like to just have this. CVs, companies don't look for responsibilities anymore. They are not giving you responsibilities. they want you to tell us achievement because they are looking for achievers, not just responsible people. If you are responsible, be responsible to your family. Just come and achieve something because they are target driven. They are working with them. They are result oriented. They want someone who will deliver value to them, value to the customer. So they are going to be paying you not for being responsible. They're going to be paying you for being achievable or for achieving things. So tell me more about your achievements on your CVs. Your achievements, what have you achieved? I've helped my organization to save £100,000, £10. If you have saved £10 for them, please put it there. I've helped my organization to deliver an event whereby 10 people were being encouraged to do things better. Fantastic achievement. Because there are so many responsible people out there, but not qualified for a job. So to distinguish you from the crowd is your achievement. And you have a lot of them. So we have to begin to think of it, and don't be shy to tell people about what you have achieved. Flora has done beautifully well to even record this today. It's an achievement. Thank you. Thank you. Don't just acquire knowledge, but teach. Now, so what I'm doing now, sometimes I work, I just organize workshops and just facilitate some things for my team, right? And what usually happens is, at the time when I'm actually doing the training, I'm learning. I'm even learning from them just because, okay, yes, I learn new things and I also have to prepare even to deliver the training. So it helps. So as you've acquired a little bit of learning from this, please go home and begin to practice and begin to share with other people. Knowledge sharing is key for me. Key. I've been doing this for almost even more than 10 years, if not even more than that. And I enjoy it. It gives me joy and fulfillment. That's the reason why this alone, I'm sure the trainings that I've done goes to thousands. But I've decided to do this today because I just feel like, okay, I just need to share with people. I can't keep this for myself anymore. I'm going to bust one day if I leave it too much. So that's just why I'm doing this. And I really would appreciate if you go out there and also do the same. Let's just share and get a coach. I have benefited from having a coach. I myself, I'm a coach as well, certified coach, so I help people with that. With the area of mindset, I've got several mentors and I've also got sponsors. Does anyone understand the difference between, or among these three, coach, mentor, and sponsor? Anyone want to explain what they really mean and their differences? Anyone? Go on.
So a coach guides you, gives you guidance basically on what to do. The mentor holds your hands and walk with you from where you are to where you want to be. And a sponsor basically puts you in the room and just make recommendation for you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any addition to that from anyone? Any addition? The only thing I would like to add to that is because a mentor holds your hands, like he said, but a coach, right? A coach would definitely make you see the solution by yourself. The coach will not tell you what the solution is. You have to figure it out by yourself. In all the situations that you may be, but I may be, the solution is right inside of us. But a coach helps you to be able to figure that out. But a mentor would use their experience to be able to guide you. Like in this case, in the area of agile, I can mentor people, right? The project manager, I can mentor people in that area. And as the coach, can work with just anybody, just to be able to help them to be able to find out what exactly is the solution. I have taken a lot of your time, and I will just close with this to say thank you very much for staying till the end. And if you have any questions, I'm sure it's been a very fast and I've rushed you at some point, but please ask your question if you have any. Ask your question. This will take days. I've just squeezed it in. So, yeah. Any question?
Sir, I have two questions. The first one is, so you recommend we get a coach, a mentor, and a sponsor, or any of them?
If you can have the three of them, fantastic. I think for your career, you desperately need a mentor. Sorry. You definitely need a mentor because your mentor is the person that has been on that journey before, holding your hand to go on that same journey. A sponsor, some people do very well without a sponsor. But a sponsor is the person that would speak about you where it matters, right? And that is just in the concept of maybe in an organization. Sponsor knows what you're capable of and they speak about you where it matters, right? So the person and the sponsor can be somebody that can see that, okay, you've got an idea that you're working on and I'm willing to sponsor you. I don't want anything in return. I just want to sponsor you. I just want to give you a helping hand to make sure that you succeed. That's the sponsor. That's their own commitment. Maybe someone did that for them as well and they just feel, okay, yeah, I need to pay it forward. They coach. They work with anybody and everybody with regards to the mindset. Somebody mentioned an agile coach before. Agile coach. Agile coach works with the team, the organization. I work as an agile coach. I work as well, helping my team and the organization to be able to embrace agile. So your job is not just for your team or with your team, but for the organization to embrace agile, to practice agile, and to be able to then reciprocate by making sure that, okay, yes, they also at least act as champions of agile.
Which one of them gives you money?
Which one of them
gives you money?
All of them, indirectly.
It can be the same person.
You can have a coach who is also your mentor, if the coach is also in the same field as you. And you can have a sponsor who is also your coach and your mentor. You can have that. But if you have them separate, brilliant. Because they will come in different ways and very, yeah.
Yes, sir. Because of the time, is it possible we get a note?
A note of
or the slide?
A note of the slide. Thank you for laughing.
How do you get certified? What's your recommendation to get certified?
Okay. So certification is fantastic. But please find a way to practice it. Find a way to practice it. Like I said, I got certified for my Prince 2. I think that was in 2012 or thereabout. No, I think it was even far beyond. Before then, far from before then, yeah. And I got my project management job maybe 4 years after. And do you know what happened? Let me give you a bit of. So after doing my certification, I was looking for job I didn't get. So what did I do? I was looking for project by myself. So I developed myself as a project. And one thing that I did was I looked inwardly, okay, yes, what can I do? So I started thinking of, okay, my skills, what can I do? So I started running events like this, knowledge sharing events, and I started managing those events as projects. So I would communicate so I would see the speakers, the audience, the participants. I would see them as I would see the guest speakers as the project board. So I'm reporting to them what the attendees, what they are saying. So I would see them as a project board. So, okay. So if the guest speaker is asking me, okay, what time should I come in? So that's more like asking for reports of what I've done so far on the project. Okay, I think that's what it means to have, okay. So am I supposed to create an highlight report to the project board? Okay, I think that's it. So that's how I learned. So I've gone for the training, theoretical understanding I had it then, but the practical, there was no place that wanted to take me there to be able to get a practical experience. So I had to develop it myself. So that was it. So if you have anywhere, even voluntary, pick it up. But make sure that what you have learned during the training or the certification, you practicalize it. That's how it becomes part of you. You live it. It's in the living. Like I said, Scrum Guide is just 15 pages. You've read it. It's something you can read in just a go. But you want to understand just Scrum planning alone. Do you know planning poker? Exactly. That's part that you will almost fail if you don't use planning poker in sprint planning, and it's not in the Scrum Guide. You can see. So that alone does not really help, because it is there. I did advanced Scrum Master certification, and it was at that point that I realized that, okay, yes, my job as a Scrum Master alone was not for my team. That it was mainly my job as a Scrum Master is actually for the organization, making sure that the organization embrace Agile. And now it has extended to the whole world. Everybody must embrace Agile now. So yeah.
I think you said what sort of certification that maybe you suggest to people.
Oh, what sort of certification? Okay. It depends on which area. If it's in the area of project management, because of the UK standard, I think Prince 2 would be a standard certification for project manager. And I know of NHS, you can never become, let me not say never, you almost will not be able to work in NHS as a project manager without Prince 2 certification. I'm aware of that. So when you ask, they would almost write it there, Prince 2 certification, whether foundation or practitioner, also helps. But when it comes to Agile, right, like I said, Agile Scrum framework has 3 roles, right? You have the product owner, Scrum Master, and the development team. Development team is in the like of software engineers, so they have their own. So development team is just those that are actually doing the development, right? The Scrum Master will need a certification as a certified Scrum Master. That's what is, that's the starting training and certification for a Scrum Master. A product owner will need certified product owner or something, certified something product owner. I think my wife has done that. So you need that as a standard for you entering into the role of a product owner. Okay? But one thing that because one of my friends wanted to do the product owner certification, and I asked him, he wanted to do Scrum Master certification, and I asked him, what's your background? And he told me risk management and business analyst. And at that point, I realized that you can't function very well as a Scrum Master. You will function very well as a product owner. And for what you saw on there, the product owner is the one that takes the information from the sponsor and then works with the development team to be able to bring out something substantial, right? The Scrum Master does not do the job. He doesn't speak to the sponsor. No, he works with the team to make sure that they understand that, okay, the approach that we are using is helping us to deliver the work. Right? So the product owner is the one that speaks to the customer. And they get the requirements from them. So business analyst, you're a business analyst. You're a business analyst.
No, I just did the
good. Business analyst is what they call requirements gathering, requirements management, right? Requirement list. So that requirement list is what fits into product backlog. So you see that is already half of the job of a product owner, dealing with that requirement, dealing with the requirements list, the requirements management. So if you already do that as a business analyst, then you better just go into a product owner role and then make sure you develop yourself in that area. Okay, go on.
For people that are very new to this and project managers, do you advise them to go for a master's route or just like take little courses to get to where they need to go?
Thank you. So going for masters for these is a waste of time. Sorry. Why? Because you get the masters, you will get the understanding, fantastic, but you may not have the experience. So what happens is you can shorten that by going for short courses. But like I said, in a project management job, thank you very much. So you can start from being a project support, or project officer, or project coordinator. These 3, they do the same thing. Project officer, project sponsor, and project coordinator. They work, I don't want to say they work for, I don't think we need anything. They work for the project manager, because the project manager is supposed to be doing the work of the project officer, project sponsor. The project manager, okay, let me do this. The only difference between the project manager and the project support is the decision making. Okay, so the job that I've been in a role whereby I was employed as a project manager, but the job, there was no project coordinator, so I had to do all of that. So taking minutes, the project coordinator could do that for a project manager. But if there's no project coordinator, the project manager will have to do that by himself. So the schedule list, which is more or less like the list for deployment list and all of that, the project plan, the project manager can do that, or you assign that to a project coordinator. So let me just say that maybe assistant project manager is the project coordinator, project support, and project officer, or a trainee project manager is a project coordinator, project support, and project officer. So that's the starting point.
And you don't need any previous experience to do that, do you?
You may become better if you get a certification, which is the foundation, Prince 2 for that, but you still need the practical understanding. And like I said, with that, if we discuss about that, then I can be able to explain a little bit more around that. Because what happens is you begin to pick projects, like all this photography stuff, you take them as a project. When you take them as a project, then the certification that you've done with foundation, you begin to use them even as you apply the learning into your day-to-day project management. So with that, when you go for an interview, you can speak to the interviewers and give experiences based on what you have done, not just because you've read it. Because interviewers are more interested in achievement. You can tell them, I've not worked in a commercial world with this, but this is what I've done in my own spare time. I'll give you an example. I wrote this book some years ago, and it got me a job. I went for a project manager role, and when I got there, they were asking me questions. And at some point, maybe towards the ending of the interview, they will ask you, okay, do you have any question? And I asked them, okay, so you've been asking me several questions. Why did you invite me for this interview? And they said, oh, okay, yeah. We saw on your CV that you've published a book, and we just found it very interesting, and that's the reason why we invited you for the interview. So what you do outside, do you have it on your CV? That's a question that I need you to ask. But I'm not talking about what you do outside that is not relevant to the job that you want. So what you do outside that is relevant to the job that you want can get you a job. And do you know why they gave me the job? Because I published a book. Because why? They look for someone that will document their processes for them. Does that make sense? They look for somebody that will document their processes for them. For instance, if you are, let me go to the extreme, if you're a cleaner, you do cleaning business, and in an organization they're looking for a project manager, it's very possible that they're looking for a project manager that is probably excellent, clean. Those are things that you could put on your CV. You don't put on your CV that, okay, yes, I was cleaning the floor. No. I'm an excellent management of facilities. That's the difference. And just to be, I'm sure the masterclass has finished. This is just question and answer. So, and I really just want to really pour my heart just to be able to say something. Your CV should contain keywords. In a project management, a project manager CV should have keywords. Keywords of stakeholder management, requirement gathering, communication. Keywords, because softwares are the ones doing the job of filtering through your CVs anymore. Recruiters are not interested in going to your CV anymore because they get thousands of them. So they just send your CV to software to just look for keywords. If the keyword that they're looking for, that the software is looking for, is not on your CV, the software will not pick your CV. And that means your CV will be dumped. Even though you may be qualified for the role. So keywords, and many people have lost opportunities because they don't have the right keywords. As a project manager, you need to have all those escalation, risk management, those keywords, put them on your CV. Do you have any question? Oh, yeah, okay. I thought you raised your hand.
So you talked about getting experience through voluntary. Are there organizations that can give you that, like a project management role based on voluntary? And if there are, can you suppose?
Okay, for instance, there are charity organizations, right, that do, because charity organizations, they're non-for-profit, right? So they may not be able to give you cash or pay your salary, but they will be happy if you can come in and help them manage the project for them, right? So there are so many charities out there. At least we have like a social enterprise that at the moment we're looking for somebody who can do something like that as well. And what happens is there are so many organizations out there that they just need somebody to help them. Like I said, a project manager coordinates. Come on, organizations have too many things everywhere. If you leave those things out, you're going to get in trouble as a business or as an organization. So you need someone who can coordinate that. Administrator as well. If you have worked as an administrator, you are almost close to becoming a project manager, because that is also what you're going to be doing as a project manager. You're going to be administering projects from the perspective of that temporary organization. So I don't know specifically charities that are out there. Churches, they have roles like that. Even if they don't have, ask. They may create for you. It's voluntary. They are not paying you. And if you had value to them, I'm sure they will appreciate it. I'm sure they will appreciate it.
I think hospitals as well.
Yeah, hospitals.
Yes, hospitals may not offer you to manage, but they may offer you to support or coordinate.
You don't ask for management role as a volunteer. You don't. Because management requires decision making. And decision making means that, okay, they have given you authority. But when you come in as a coordinator, then you can prove yourself that you can take that position of being a project manager. Because you are already helping them to, you are giving them that, the skill of initiation, you are displaying it in the organization. So then they begin to see that, okay, this person, like I mentioned, I've worked in an NHS environment or healthcare where I saw doctors who were actually deploying software. And this doctor told me that, okay, he had already created a software that could do similar thing to what we were deploying. And I opened my mouth. Doctor, software development, how? What's the correlation? So, things like that. So, the guy took his time to be able to create a software even at his spare time. And I've seen other medical doctors that have gone on to train themselves in project management because they just find it very interesting. Okay, he helped me to be able to manage my day and to be able to manage my patients, making me understand how to be able to communicate to them very well and see them as projects and every day. And like there was a time with there was this, like COVID came. There were so many project managers around that time because that was just, COVID can never be forever. So that was just, that was a good time for some people to be able to exhibit their project management skills because there were times when you would have to, too many things happened during COVID anyway. So some people got jobs as project managers because of that. You wanted to ask a question?
No, I was just going to say, it's a bit random really, but I sponsor a horse rescue centre. And she asked me today if I would be willing to organise a charity fundraise. And I can't, I'm too busy to do it. But opportunities like that, and certainly in my role, I've organised 3 or 4 international charity trips and things, and it really stands out on your CV. So if you're interested in that, be in touch. She's looking for somebody quite local who, I think it's in July, she wants to put on a big event. That'd be great.
Thank you. So another thing that I've experienced as well was at some point I was working as a customer service person before I even became a customer service manager. So during that customer service role, do you know what happened? Every ticket, every customer I was dealing with, every day I went to work, I was just, okay, I think this is a project. Let me take it as a project. So I was doing that to be able to on my skills in project management. So like I said, any role you find yourself, any role, you can always find a way to be able to create that. Like you mentioned, events are very good because events are temporary. It's either for a day, but that one day you plan for months to deliver one day. So the planning stage, you can be part of that. And then the execution also. Because I don't think I mentioned this, the different stages with it, where you have to, after planning, you then look at, okay, this is how we're going to implement it, and then before you create processes around maintenance and enclosure. Okay, I spent another 30 minutes above the time. Any other question before we close for the day? I hope I did not rush that, and even if I did, please forgive me. I was just trying to work with the time. Any other question?
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So we've come to the. I'm sure you. And so wherever you got the invite from, if you have any further question, get in touch. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this again because of my time. I'm currently finishing up my executive MBA, and after that time, I probably will be very busy because I'm going fully into my coaching business. So I thought let me just do this so that these people get to understand, okay, yes, this is what it is. And my intention is to actually make it very easy for you to know, okay, yes, this is an area that you can get into. So if you have any further question outside of this, please ask me, and I'll try as much as possible to be able to support. But thank you very much for coming.
Can you please tell us your name and where you've traveled from?
Yeah, Tony from Leicestershire.
And can you please give us some feedback for today's Agile Project Management Masterclass?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the masterclass. There was so much information packed into a short session, but I learned a lot. I didn't really have project management background, so I wanted this as an intro to project management. I've heard of different things like Prince 2, Agile, etc., and wanted to know a bit more about that and see if it's what I would like to go into. And it was a really good session. I learned a lot. I've got a lot to go away and focus on, and also think about my experiences and how they can fall under project management.
Well, that's fine. So please tell us your name and where you've travelled from for today's event.
Thanks. So I'm Tasha from Derbyshire, Derby. I've come because of seeing this lovely masterclass hosted on Eventbrite at no cost, and to come here and find that Timoteo was so kind to share his experiences, the tricks and the tips that he gave us was just unbelievable. It was more encouraging than just information. It was so much more than just information. He gave us a step to take. It's like how he explained that there's output and then there's outcome. And I think his output was this masterclass, and the outcome was what we take and do with it. And how he gave it to us for free, we then pass it on and grow with this into a new sector, something that's very, I think we are all aware of, and it's so required in business today. And it's just taking all of those values that you hear. I'm just a mum who connects with all of these words: product owner, project manager, scrum master, agile coach. I do that in my life, and I can see making this real and being paid for it. So I saw that as a huge encouragement for me and everyone that was here today, and I'd like to say thank you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tasha. Thank you. And you've heard it. Next time on the Agile Project Management Masterclass, make sure you're all here. Do not miss it. Our masterclasses are free. So look out on Eventbrite for events from SIM management masterclasses, or SIM companies, SIM organization, or perhaps from the host himself, Timoteo Oyederan. Until next time, we are expecting you at the Agile Project Management Masterclass. Bye for now.